I had a dream a couple of years ago, and in that dream I was dreaming and I heard a voice in my dream. It was pitch black, and I heard a voice in my dream tell me that Dajjal is off the coast of Yemen, implying as if the Dajjal is already here and it's off the coast of Yemen. This was a couple of years back, and I didn't even know what the Dajjal was, by the way. I had no idea what it was, and still to this day I'm a little iffy as to what it really is, because to me it means three things rather. It means, one, a being from amongst us, a human, a creature from amongst us, meaning as in a human from amongst us, whom is very wicked, very, very wicked. And also, it's also kind of like a system of things to distract you away from either staying a believer or knowing what a believer is, or being able to tell who a disbeliever is. So that's the second thing. And then the third thing is the army of disbelievers. Those whom are a part of Dajjal's works. I had an inspiration. An inspiration is different from a dream. Matter of a few incidents in the news that have come back. So it's recently. It's within 2 weeks or something of that sort, along the lines of that. And a dream is that which you have in the perhaps in the REM state of sleep. I think that's what it is. And an inspiration is a thought that comes to you. And for me, an inspiration is a thought that comes from the Lord, or the Spirit, or something that doesn't come from you. That's to me what an inspiration is. So to me, I received inspiration that the Anti-Christ, Dajjal, in other words, one of the same, his army is already here. And what do I mean by that? The Dajjal, the Antichrist, is already here, or at least his army is already here. His works are already here. In my inspiration that I received, it had shown me, well, here's how it went. I was in the sink washing dishes, and I seen an inspiration with my eyes open, a vision with my eyes open and I see khafira, khofir, which means disbeliever. Khofir means disbeliever. And in it, I was inspired to understand what a disbeliever is. A disbeliever is one whom doesn't follow the scriptures of the Lord, the commandments rather of the Lord, or the teachings and guidance and criterion of the Lord. So, I'll explain to you why I utilized Anti-Christ and Dajjal as the same thing. The Antichrist, the mention of that, comes from the New Testament. Somewhere in there, obviously, we understand that portion of that is the truth. Portion of that is the truth. And of course, so Antichrist and Dajjal would be similar. So Antichrist and Dajjal would be similar. Now, how many times do you have to see the news until you understand what's really going on? How many incidents do you have to see in the news until you realize something is up? It's kind of like every time a news story comes out and it's like the example of a tune on the guitar. You hit one string and that's new news to you. You hit another string, that's another story that comes out. You hit another string and that's another story that comes out. And you keep waiting and waiting and waiting. So, you're playing a song on the guitar, and you pull one string. That's the first string of news that you hear. That's one story. And you're like, nah, this doesn't, it's just a random occurrence. Then second one string, ding, that's another random occurrence. And then there's a string of occurrences that are happening. You keep playing the song and all these strings of incidents are occurring. You keep playing each string. And by the time the song is over, you got nothing to play anymore. You keep waiting for the big thing. You keep every one of you is waiting for the big thing, for you to turn. For you to turn. When in actuality, you turning it's not gonna happen. You know why? Because you're waiting for a moment. You're waiting for a moment. And that moment is a string of moments. You're waiting for a moment which is a string of moments. And by the time, before you even know it, the song will already be complete. Now, one of the incidents, I'll give you an example. In a mall, you heard the stabber reciting Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar is nothing terrible at all. It just means God is greatest. It's actually a very magnificent thing to say. Allahu Akbar, God is greatest. Indeed it is true. The creator of the heavens is the greatest. There's nothing wrong with it. But what makes it wrong is uttering that and then doing what God did not command you to do. Now we will explain to you what the Antichrist and Dajjal is. They are one and the same. Antichrist and Dajjal means a disbeliever. Disbeliever of the Lord, which means that they are automatically a disbeliever of the scriptures. Chances are they don't even know what's in the scriptures. Because if they were a believer of the Lord, if they were a believer at all, they would see that to kill one innocent is to kill the whole of humanity. So, how would we know when the Antichrist or the Dajjal is here? That's exactly it. We will know by their actions. That is the disbeliever. That is Antichrist. What is Antichrist? Going against the teachings of Jesus. Right? Jesus didn't say it to kill in the name of the Lord. And kufr is straight up disbeliever. So one whom is killing in the name of the Lord, an innocent, is the Dajjal's army. The disbelieving army. The Lord hath shown me that the Dajjal's army, the Antichrist army, is already here. It's anyone whom is a disbeliever and is out to kill an innocent. Is out to kill an innocent. That is what kufr is. That is what Antichrist is. It is not a Muslim. Because a true Muslim is not a disbeliever of the Lord. One whom is really a Muslim believes in the words of the Lord, would not go out and strike an innocent. That is only what a disbeliever would do. I never watched Walking Dead, but I can tell you, Walking Dead is here. You are walking amongst the dead. And what do I mean by that? I mean walking amongst those whom don't know the truth. That is Walking Dead. Not knowing logic, understanding the words of the Lord, which is ultimately the truth of that which is happening before, that which is happening now, that which is to come. We're amongst the Walking Dead. Sounds a little delirious, isn't it? Sounds a bit delirious, doesn't it? Yeah, it does. What's even more delirious is that it's happening now. Every day, every other day, you see an incident on the news. What is that? These are the disbelievers. These are the disbelievers. And the disbelievers are rising amongst you. And they are not Christian. And they're not Muslim. They don't belong to any